topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask Good Questions podcast, broadcasting live every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on W4CY Radio at W4CY.com. This week and every week, we will reach for a higher purpose in money and life, as well as a focus on health and wellness. Now, let's join your host, Bonita Bell Anderson, as together we start with Asking Good Questions.
Hello and welcome to Ask Good Questions podcast. Today it is me and I have a great show for you today. I am actually taking a bunch of concepts from the second chapter of my latest book, which is Money Mindset and the Suddenly Single, the ultimate guide for divorcees and widows. Kind of the idea behind that was people who, crazy things happen in life. And so when something happens and you have not been used to taking care of your money, then all of a sudden I have seen people just get frozen. And so that's where the book kind of started from. So this week is some big concepts from the second chapter, which is about starting the transformation of your mindset to be able to do something hard that you maybe have not been able to do before. So I'm going to bring the slides up now, if we can. So, because I did my, and also I have an announcement. You can see that the slides this week were inspired by ocean, like an ocean theme. Well, we're going to be doing a senior mission to Hawaii for a year. So I'm going to be leaving in a couple of months for Hawaii. It's a service mission. It's kind of open-ended. You can pretty much figure out where you want to go help. And so anyway, I'm excited because for the podcast, I want to bring some cool guests that you'd only be able to have if you're in a, interesting place like Hawaii. So that will be something that will be coming up. But today, the 6 keys to a winner's money mindset. And please, please, please pay attention because this is going to apply to anybody, but especially to people that are going through any kind of life transition. We're going to talk about these keys that I discuss in the second chapter of my book. And if you so choose to go get my book, you can find the information on the bonus download, the information about me and the bonus download on the Ask Good Questions podcast.com website. Also, you can find it on Amazon and all good places like that. So those 6 keys are: fill your mind with the best information. Pick a few great role models. Examine your current beliefs. Fortify your mindset with a vision and set some goals, please. Protect your mindset and don't let a mistake trash your money mindset. Those are the big things. But don't you love these beautiful pictures of surfers and everything? We're actually going to be on Oahu, so I'm looking to maybe do a podcast from the North Shore where the big waves are. Anyway, I digress. The power of thinking you can. Here's when you have a big change going on in your life, instead of saying I can't, I want you to think, how can I? What can I do if I'm facing some big challenge? So before I get into the keys, we're going to talk about a few things. There's a couple of concepts before we get into those keys. First one is money is really more than a currency. It's really about the emotions that are connected to it and what people make it mean to have money or not. If you didn't grow up rich or wealthy, I don't think I'm going to use rich, I'm going to use wealthy. If you didn't grow up wealthy, one thing you'll probably have to deal with when you find that you're suddenly single, if you someday, go through a divorce or someday lose a spouse or a partner, it's a clash with your subconscious beliefs from your upbringing. And that a lot of times collides with the realities of what's going on in your life. So this, I believe, is the root cause of why people go through a massive life change who came from poverty or even middle class upbringings, and they can end up broke or bankrupt within a very short amount of time. I'm sure you can think of people like win the lottery, and then you hear these crazy stories about how they all of a sudden lose it all. Well, stepping into money in some way, shape, or form. I'm not talking about a whole lot. It may be just a little, but whatever it is, if it's something that's stressing you out, it can feel like walking into a fog where the familiar landmarks of your life just seem to start to blur. I went through a terrible divorce. It was a huge life-changing event about 25 years ago. I was completely in a blur for a while. And it's a journey that's really surprisingly can lead you into really uncharted emotional territories. I know for me, I started beating myself, what did I do wrong and everything else. So the sudden shift in your financial status a lot of times doesn't just alter a bank balance, it really emotionally can transform your emotional world. And in ways that you may not have anticipated. I'm going to talk a little bit more later about money and happiness, but there's been a lot of studies that have been done about whether money makes you happy or not. And really, newsflash, true contentment often lies beyond the realms of financial abundance. It just is the case. So watch out for clashing with your subconscious beliefs. Watch out for sabotaging yourself. I know that I wrestled with who I was and what I was going to be about when I went through that massive change. And it's just something that it'll help you grow. If it doesn't kill you, it'll help you grow, right? So let's talk a little bit about that thing about complexity of happiness and money. If you dive into that intricate dance between money and happiness, it really unveils a terrain of misconceptions and half-truths. The idea that money is a golden ticket to happiness is a myth that has been debunked time and time again. Now, I know what you're saying. Hey, I think it sure would help. And yes, it can, but not for long. You have to know that there's been studies that have shed light on the reality that many people face. And that is that despite having financial abundance, maybe they do have a nice bucket of money, there's an undercurrent of isolation and a sense of unfulfillment. You can be wildly happy with very little money, and you can have a whole bunch of money and be miserable. So that points to a deeper truth about happiness. It's not something that can be purchased or accumulated. like money. Here's the big wisdom. True contentment springs from a well of emotional well-being and personal fulfillment, elements that money can't touch. How in the heck do you do that, Bonita, right? So it's really crucial to understand that while money plays a significant role, it's not a panacea for all of life's challenges. It's really an allure of a hefty bank balance that can be very, very enticing. But it's no substitute for the joy that can be found in genuine human connections and the satisfaction that's derived from personal achievements and growth. So this isn't to say that financial resources aren't important, but I guess another thing I would say is, yes, obviously they can certainly ease a lot of life's burdens, but the mistake lies in believing that money alone is enough to fill our lives with joy and meaning. Hopefully you understand that. Hopefully that is something that you've found in your life. So you got to recognize what the limitations are of what money can offer, and don't expect it to bring you happiness. During this episode, we're going to be talking about how do you do that? How do you get more purpose? And what you're really going to be looking for is the ingredients of a life well lived, offering a sense of purpose and belonging that no amount of money can replicate, right? So the journey ahead. So yes, we all want more money in our bank accounts. And as you stand on the threshold of looking at the future, how are you going to get to where you want to go? It's not just about managing numbers in a bank account. I want you to be thinking about what can you do with that resource, because that's what it is. It's a tool, it's a resource. And I want you to think about aligning those newfound resources with your deepest values and aspirations. And you're like, come on, Bonita, I just want a big bank account. Well, there's another study that was done by a bank that really hit home on this topic. I talked about the crucial step of intertwining your financial decisions with your personal values. Imagine that. It struck a chord with me when I saw that, because what I teach is that money serves a purpose that needs to resonate with your core beliefs and aspirations, right? So that's why I'm saying intertwining your financial decisions with your personal values. So that's a big idea, to intertwine the money with the values. And it transforms money from a mere financial asset into a tool. I want you to think of it as a tool for crafting a life that genuinely reflects who you are. So, like an example for me, I've been a scuba diver for 30 years. I love the ocean. I know other people that go, oh, I could never scuba dive. But here I am. I'm just about to embark on a mission to serve a purpose in Hawaii. But along the way, I plan on helping out with coral reef restoration people. That's what I'm talking about, is like, you set things up so that you go, how can I accomplish this? Or how can I accomplish that I'd like to do? So thriving in a new chapter of life where you start thinking like this isn't just about the practicalities of managing money. Yes, you need to know how to do those things, but it's about navigating that emotional, that value-driven aspects that are going to really come with it and really give you some meaning. So it's going to set the stage for the time ahead. I never knew if this opportunity that I have to be in Hawaii for a year was ever going to come up, but here it is, and it's happening. And so let's talk a little bit more. Oops, I got to do this. About who you are. Think about your mindset. That's what this whole thing about is today about. Your mindset. What in the heck is that? It's all of your knowledge. It includes the subconscious and the conscious beliefs. You've got beliefs that you don't even know that you have. And you have thoughts about the world. And wow, are we watching what's going on with the news right now? There's crazy things going on. And who are you in that world? Where do you fit? So your mindset, did you know, determines how you receive and react to information that you're getting. You have like a window of perception that you view things through. And your mindset messes with your money. It impacts your perception of yourself and what you're allowed, what am I allowed to have? Am I allowed to have this much? Or am I allowed to have this much? So anyone who grew up not wealthy needs to adjust their mindset in order to become wealthy. I know that for me, when I went through that terrible transition in life 25 years ago, I was a mess, and I had to reinvent who I was from the get-go, because, the thing was that helped me was I wanted to help my girls. I wanted to be able to be as whole as I could be so that I could help my daughters who were also going through a lot of struggles. So if you become wealthy, you must make yet another mindset adjustment in order to stay wealthy. Keep the money that you have. Here again, I'm talking from experience, because as I look back over those first few years, I did a lot of things that sabotaged myself. And so whatever you've gained, it's going to clash with the value system that you have deep down inside that you may never have known that you had. Any self-made person, and I'm going to talk to you, I'm going to give you 3 examples a little bit later, must at some point overcome limiting beliefs about what it means to have money. Have you ever heard the words, let's talk about these terms: greedy, dishonest, selfish, cheater, user, shallow, rude, nasty? Was that used to describe wealth when you were a kid? Is that what you're hearing on the news media that you watch, possibly right now? If you don't, if you didn't, I'd be surprised. The typical middle and lower class mindset is that wealthy people are dirtbags. They're only looking out for themselves. They look good on the outside, but inside they're emotionally and morally bankrupt. That in the past has been a way for people without money to feel better about themselves. I think that situation is changing, but I'm just looking at what I've seen happen in my life in the past. And some of the things that go along with that mindset would be, oh, I may be broke, but at least I'm a good person. And so it's unfortunate, because it's that very mindset that makes it difficult for any self-made person, but especially somebody who's going through some kind of life transition, to hold on to and grow their money. So this chapter in my book has, it's for those who find themselves at that crossroad of having some big transition happening in their life, and navigating and being aware that you have hidden programming running inside of you. You have to trust yourself to make decisions that align with your values and aspirations, and especially, like I'm a grandma, the legacy that I want to leave behind. I want to include this in the legacy that I leave behind. And so at the end of the day, understanding that you need to trust yourself first with possibly newfound money, or thinking about how am I going to be successful in XYZ, it's the cornerstone of not only surviving, but thriving in the life ahead. Okay. So also the other thing that's interesting is when people have received a bucket of money, sometimes they become more visible, and that can be a big problem. But I want you to overcome those limiting beliefs. Think about what it means to you. Think about how am I going to live purposely, maintain a positive outlook, and trust yourself to align with your values. Okay? All right. Moving forward. So I've got some examples of, I took 3 people that I know you're going to know, and they exemplify some of these issues that we're talking about, right? Before I go into those, I want to just mention that American teens are lagging way behind in their approach to basic financial problems and education. That seems to be changing with state regulatory entities and banks providing more and more financial, workshops and things. But it is very true that in the past, a lot of kids coming into adulthood had no flipping idea how they were going to do anything. So as I talk about some of these examples, I want you to think about, let's call it financial empowerment. How are you going to empower yourself for, and don't think about like becoming Uber, whatever, just to meet the goals and the things that you want in your life. That financial empowerment is cultivated through financial education, which is what I'm all about, and a deep understanding of how money works. So consider the transformation of Robert Kiyosaki. Now, you may know him. He's the mind and the author behind Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I got that book probably 40 years ago. Maybe it's 40 years ago. But it's one of the first books I read about his own financial enlightenment. And it didn't come from amassing money, but from understanding the mechanics behind it. He draws a clear line between assets and liabilities, and he teaches that the essence of financial growth doesn't lie in the accumulation, but wise management of resources. Remember me telling you about sabotaging myself? Well, I did not have a handle back in the day when I was going through huge stress. I did not have a handle on wise management of resources. His narrative is a testament to the idea that financial literacy isn't just beneficial. It's essential for anyone looking to navigate the waters of money with confidence and purpose. So that's Robert Kiyosaki. All right, the next one, Warren Buffett. You've been living underneath a rock if you don't know who Warren Buffett is. He is a name synonymous with investment success, right? His advocacy for financial education isn't just talk. His life's work reflects a steadfast belief in the value of investing in oneself. And I know that, Dean Piper, who is the kind of the brainstorm behind all these podcasts that people do, he's a big believer in the value of investing in yourself. I know I had an interview a few weeks ago with Garrett Gunderson, huge believer in investing in yourself. So Warren Buffett, from his early days delivering newspapers to his role as the chairman of Berkshire Hathaway, His journey is a masterclass in the application of financial knowledge. He argues that the most significant investment you can make is in your own education. That is a pillar, rock solid thing. And it fundamentally enhances your ability to make informed financial decisions. That's a big deal. Hear that. His story illuminates the path from understanding to action, taking action, showing how a solid foundation in financial principles can unlock doors to success that seem virtually impossible. Okay, so the last one you can see on the slide, Elon Musk. Now there's a name in the headlines today. Now, whether you love Elon Musk or you hate him, that's not why he's on this list of mine today. He's a great example of someone who really thinks differently from most of us. His endeavors are not rooted in the pursuit of money. No, not at all. But his endeavors are rooted in a mission to address some of humanity's most pressing challenges, right? Through SpaceX, you know, that the grand explosions that there's been, as well as the grand successes, he envisions a future where humanity is not confined to a single planet. Who thinks about that? Thereby safeguarding our species' long-term survival. I mean, who in the world is thinking about that? Well, Elon Musk is. Tesla, on the other hand, is a testament to his commitment to environmental sustainability. Now, I know, there's a lot of issues around what that means and the arguments both pro and con, but he is someone who's very much interested in renewable energy sources, right? So that's not the point. The point is that whether you agree with him or not, these investments reflect a deep-seated belief in the power of innovation, right? That's kind of back behind it all, to effect meaningful change, demonstrating how his financial resources can be mobilized to forge new paths. So I thought that was a great example of, you don't need to be another Elon Musk. You don't need to be another Warren Buffett, but think about what you want to accomplish in your life, and you can use that tool called money to affect change in your life and give yourself permission to do the things that you want to do. So wise investing is as much about the impact on the world around us as it is about personal or financial gain. Really, it's exciting. It's about identifying opportunities, not only for growth, but for generating positive change, whether that's through education, environmental conservation, or technological innovation. This invites us to consider the legacy that we want to live. So think, here I am, I'm a grandma. I'm using my resource and I'm thinking about, in my brain, what is the legacy that I want to leave behind me, right? Okay. Let's get into these keys, right? There's 6 of them. Number 1, fill your mind with the best information, right? A big key is making sure that you're basing it on accurate information. So searching the internet for good financial advice is equivalent to walking up the bleachers in your local arena and talking to someone in section 201 row Z that, how should I grow my money? No, you need to realize that day traders, get rich quick schemes, business opportunities, whatever that might be, of all kinds abound everywhere. Don't get distracted or go down the rabbit hole of the internet, but find a trusted advisor. Like I help people with figuring out some of these things. Maybe go to your friend that seems like they might have it all together and see what they're doing. But find a trusted advisor and get some real education so that you can look at your goals, look at your values, look at your level of risk tolerance, look at your time frames. Those are all things that you need to do to figure out the best course for you, right? I get a little passionate about this. Number 2, pick a few great role models. So, maybe the next time you're at a social gathering, look around the room and who do you see that seems like they have their act together? It's not going to be anybody that's boasting. I would run away from people that are boasting about something. But the ones that appear calm and content and they don't have anything to prove about their money, that type of model possesses desirable characteristics. That's what you're looking for. You want to find somebody that's easy to look up to, inspires their family and friends. They respect, others. They practice what they preach. Though all of those things. A lot of times they're supporting worthwhile causes. Go find those people that are supporting worthwhile causes. How do they have the resources to do that, right? You should also see them acting ethically and demonstrating honesty on a consistent basis. And approach them. See if they're willing to offer some guidance. Whether or not they become an official mentor, you can adopt their money mindset, possibly, and apply it to what is right for you. It's never about copying. It's about being inspired, finding something that inspires you. The people that I mentioned, go read their story. Maybe that will inspire you as well. All right? But take inspiration from those that have gone before you. Okay, number 3. Beliefs we have about money often don't seem like beliefs. We just think they're true. But like I said earlier, if you didn't grow up wealthy, chances are high that you have beliefs about money that could limit your ability to create and hold on to money. And if you're going, but, hold on. The first step to change is awareness, pretty much in everything I've ever seen in my life. So I've outlined some questions that you can ask yourself to help bring your deeply held beliefs to the surface, all right? So I'm going to pause for a few seconds in between. I'm going to read you these questions and I'm going to just pause between them. Where did your family come from? What was it like growing up? Get some images in your brain. What was it like growing up? What did I learn about money growing up? That'll probably trigger something. What did you learn about money growing up? What was my family's attitude towards rich people? Right? So then on one hand, what's the hardest lesson you've ever learned regarding money? I've got plenty. On the other hand, what's the best experience you've ever had with money? Now think out here. What would I do with my time if no one paid me? Where would I retire? Or maybe, what do I want to be doing if I retire? Are there self-limiting beliefs that are getting in the way of answering some of these questions? Do you need to let go of something that you've just become aware of? Know that the best way to let go of an old limiting belief is to give yourself a new experience. Do something different, get a better result, and build on that. Before you know, you'll be thinking, taking yourself up in how you think about yourself. So I said this before, you have to think like a wealthy person so that you remain a wealthy person. Because if you have those limiting beliefs and you have this, they call it a money mindset that puts you in a little box, then it's going to be uncomfortable if you have more, and you will subconsciously get rid of it. I just tell you, I know from personal experience. Okay, moving on. Number 4. Oh, look at that big wave. North Shore, here I come. Number 4, fortify your mindset with a vision and set some goals. Visualize where you want to go. You got to have a hunger. You got to be hungry for wanting to make a change. This has to do with anything in life, right? But you got to have a hunger to do something different if you're ever going to make a change. And it will only be that helps you stay on track. Visualize clearly where you want to go. Write it down somewhere where you can reread it frequently. And remember to include your why. Why do you want to do this? How am I going to get here? How am I going to change the situation so that I can move forward? What are your reasons for wanting to have it? Have to have that hunger of wanting to make the change. So for help with goal setting, a lot of times I've done this look back exercise as well as a look forward exercise. With hindsight being 2020, as you're looking back, ask yourself, what needs to happen now for me to feel good where I am financially 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now? And like someone I'm thinking of has said in the past, well, if you're telling me I can't, well, if you could, what needs to happen? So start changing your language. Language is everything, right? Remember to include your why. Number 5, protect your mindset. Here's a quote for you. The strength of a woman is not measured by the impact that all her hardships in life have had on her, but the strength of a woman is measured by the extent of her refusal to allow those hardships to dictate her and who she becomes. It's by a gal named C. Joy Bell C. Don't let negative people drag you down. Protect your mindset against bad information and negativity overload, right? Keep your confidence high. Go through and you do the things that will help you keep your confidence high. You need to believe in yourself. You need to believe that you can do it, because if you don't, you ain't never going to do it then, right? Be in a state of constant improvement and look to help others along the way. I feel this is important. If you get outside of yourself, you're going to help yourself by helping others. You can't go wrong there, right? All right. Number 6. Don't let a mistake trash your money mindset. Oh boy, have I got several mistakes that I've made that, I've learned from. You look back and you look at what were the lessons. I've got some big lessons. The reason that this podcast is called Ask Good Questions was because some of the horrific mistakes in my past, I didn't ask good questions. So here's John Wooden, who was an American basketball coach and a winner of 10 NCAA championships. John said, if you're not making mistakes, then you're not doing anything. I'm positive that a doer makes mistakes. That's Coach Wooden. So like anything in life, sometimes you're going to make mistakes. We're human. And that's going to happen with managing your money. I get it. I've made some big mistakes with money. Don't let any mistake pull you off your vision. Look for the lesson and move on. Before you know that you're competent at managing money, you may find yourself slipping into feelings that are signs of, a lack of confidence, like, oh, I can't do this. Well, take note and get support from that trusted advisor that we talked about you finding that'll help you navigate the waters without allowing insecurities to hijack your progress, right? When I picked myself up and started to rebuild my life 25 years ago, I basically characterized myself as being curled up in a corner, sucking my thumb, and just totally incapacitated. And there was a moment where I started getting outside of myself and I said, damn it, I am not going to let this destroy me. And so you have to sometimes get to that point where you just say, I'm going to move forward. So you might have these signs of feeling overwhelmed, avoiding it, not spending time on personal financial issues if you're avoiding it, and arrogance, being careless, coming at investment opportunities with I know all about that type of attitude. But recognize that feeling overwhelmed is something that happens to all of us, and do something about it. Finally, there's something that I always say, and that is that money doesn't make you happy. You do. Money's only a source of happiness when it is used to do good for others. So rich people get depressed. Poor people get depressed. Everybody will have those problems every once in a while. True, there's no evidence that money makes you unhappy, but the adage that money doesn't buy happiness holds true. My grandmother was right when she told me to value health and friends over money and stuff. Perhaps someone in your life has shared the same wisdom with you. And it was my mother, who I miss greatly. She's passed on several years ago. Mom always said, take care of your own business. So in teaching me that, she was teaching me about learning, taking 100% responsibility for myself, and doing the things that are going to help me move myself forward, right? So money doesn't make you happy. You're going to figure out what makes you happy. Here's the things that I know for sure. Dysfunctional beliefs were created in your past. And that, from our childhood, we have things that we may not even know that are there. You can change those beliefs that no longer serve you. Yes, you can. And create something new, something powerful, something of great worth for you and your family. To change those outdated beliefs, you have to create that vision for your future, so powerful that it reprograms your mind. You get excited about it. So nothing's going to happen unless you take consistent action to find the mindset that will support your long-term goals. You have to persist through whatever challenges come up in your life. And it's all part of the ups and downs and the things that happen. But those who keep their head up are eventually, in my book, I believe, are going to win. And remember, you are great just as you are. You are whole and complete. This information is coming at you at this time for a purpose. To be powerful and an impactful person You need to drive a truck through those beliefs that have limited your thinking in the past. So just realize I'm telling you, you can go out and make a difference. I don't care. Maybe it's just with you and your life. Maybe it's with your family. Maybe it's with your community. But you can make a difference. For inspiration, I think of the nonprofits that I've worked with in the past that have helped like homeless women and children. I hope to make a difference in the future with coral reef restoration projects, helping the ocean. So just remember that I encourage you to dive in with an open mind and a willingness to learn. Be excited about the future. I think we have a fantastic future ahead of us. Read. If you get the book, you can find it. There's a bonus in the bonus downloads on the podcast website. There is bonus downloads, and there's an information page about how to reach me, how to find the link for the book on Amazon. But if you do get the book, read it through to familiarize yourself with the concepts and strategies that are presented, and then revisit it, this time with applying lessons. And think of, how does this apply to my own particular situation? So those things are going to be there to help you crystallize your own goals, outline actionable steps that you can take. And really, I want you to envision the future that you can build for yourself. That's going to be your playbook for financial success. Thank you so much for joining with me today. It was a delight to be with here to discuss these important concepts with you. And thanks for joining the podcast.
Today's episode is over, but we did ask good questions again, didn't we? Don't miss out as we broadcast live every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on W4CY Radio at W4CY.com. Join Bonita Bell Anderson next week for more conversations with experts on finances, retirement, behavioral finance issues, health and wellness, and more. Until then, remember to ask good questions.